Barn Motor Club's P&O Ferries Ulster Rallycross Grand Prix is just the shot in the arm that this unique form of motorsport needs. There is a good entry, good crowds and plenty of interesting things to look at on four wheels.
There are 5 main divisions in Rallycross, and we start with the minnows, the up to 1400cc Group N cars. But don't let the size of their engines or the state of tune fool you. This is a serious class.
And the danger man, Cecil Haffey, lying in second place there. He's the current British champion and he comes from Portadown. But he's been led at the moment by number 53, Elliot Dalkin, in the little Citroen. So Citroen, Suzuki, and then another Suzuki with Tony Bardi. Look out for him in third place. Another very quick gentleman indeed, as indeed are all 4 in this heat. Darren Wilcox, number 55, makes up the bunch. They're just behind our car, just coming into picture now in his little Peugeot. The 5th car is one of the Corway Tire cars running in with the Division 5 runners, but it's them we're concentrating on. And look at Haffey looking for a little gap up the front there, but Dalkin still has the command, and Tony Bardi, you can never ever underestimate this man in third place. He was of course in a much higher division in the past, but he's come down into this, and at the moment he's been challenged by the Peugeot. Haffey looking down the inside. There's a very busy little course up at Nuts Corner, owned by the Antrim District Council. On they come on the second lap, and Haffey's on the outside. He's going to try and get down on the inside there, a dodgy enough manoeuvre, and he has to go back. And has that given Bardi the jump? Yes, Bardi sneaks through on the inside up into second place. So Cecil Haffey will not be too pleased about that manoeuvre. Number 51, Cecil Haffey. Meanwhile, Elliot Dalkin still leads as he comes up the back straight. They start, of course, in a straight line on the tarmac, but when they get into the first and second laps, they diverge off onto the loose surface here. So just going off the tarmac onto the loose there as they come up the hill. 1400cc Group N cars, fairly standard tune and giving a lot of entertainment. Now Bardi will be looking for a gap. Cecil Haffey looking for a way back after that little mistake on the last lap. And of course, Dalkin trying to make that Citroen AX as wide as he possibly can. Down they come, one of the fastest part of the course, back onto the loose again, and Haffey must have given Bardi a little nudge up the back. He's missing a back bumper. It's only plastic, it's only cosmetic, but a little bit distracting all the same for him. And Bardi going very wide there, flapping his tail as Haffey and indeed Wilcox hang on. Great heat this, but Dalkin seems to have it all sewn up at the moment. He's got that little gap, or has he? Bardi trying to break desperately late there, and Dalkin goes wide. Is Bardi going to take it? He sneaks through, no room for Haffey. So Bardi just at the right time, coming up now the straight. The checkered flag should be waiting him. So a beautiful win there by Bardi.
It's a very good class. Cars are very even, and thus we've had very good racing. I mean, there's so little difference in any of the makes of the cars that it's providing very good racing and very enjoyable, and I sincerely hope that a lot more comes into it. I would encourage people to come into it.
Now, Tony is a real rallycross superstar, and he's come down to this class, you might say. Are you going to be able to deal with him?
I would like to think at home here I can give him a good run for it anyway. I'm not going to say I can beat him, but I'll give him a good run for it. I'll make him work for a win anyway.
Cecil Haffey's on pole for the Division 5 final, and he gets off the line cleanly. But Elliot Dalkin and Tony Bardi dispute second as they come into the first corner.
Bardi's on a kamikaze move round the outside. He runs wide, Haffey takes the advantage. Dalkin's in there, and Bardi clobbers him, and the tyres. There's chaos as we see it from both angles. And the man who loses out there is Dalkin. Dalkin right at the tail of the field, number 53. And this is just the break that Cecil Haffey needed. Barn Motor Club marshals just getting things back together again, and Haffey now seems to have it all his own way. It's an enormous lead by any division standards, but particularly Division 5 standards in Rallycross. You notice he's had his wing mirror tucked in, that must have been contact. Pass our curb camera, on his way. Bardi's in second place and is trying to close down that gap desperately, but I don't think he's going to make it, so Haffey wins the A final.
It's a poor entry, 4 cars, but it's probably a little bit of a sign of the times with the rallycross in the UK, but I'm looking forward to it. It's going to make a good race out of it, to hell with it.
And you're going to have some pretty stiff opposition there, the Toyota for example.
Oh yes, the Toyota Tony Bell is going well, Mark Watson, Kevin Toomey, they're all very capable drivers. It's all open, definitely.
These are the unlimited Group N cars, and Tony Bell is carrying a camera for us in his Toyota GT4 in the heats.
And trying desperately to get past that Escort Cosworth roadblock. Kevin Toomey all over the place right in front of the Toyota, but getting away in the distance there, Helmut Hohlfeld, just the break he needed. Both these men from Dublin, Hohlfeld and Toomey, very regular rallycross men, have been for quite a number of seasons, and of course Hohlfeld, previous to that, a saloon car racer. But Tony Bell from England in the Toyota was here last year, had rotten luck, the car didn't actually start on him, so he's very much looking for a better day today at Nuts Corner, and really fighting with the four-wheel drive GT4 as it comes up. But the Escorts seem to have it in a straight line. They're pulling away now, and can Toomey come up and challenge Hohlfeld? That's the question mark in this particular heat. We're still aboard with Tony Bell as we come up the rise into the right-hander, onto the tarmac briefly and then onto the loose again. And of course this sport was invented for television. The idea is to simulate a rally stage in a confined space. Very, very exciting it always is. Mark Watson is the man behind there in car number 151 in the third of the Escort Cosworth, and he's now putting on quite a challenge to the Toyota. Up front we see the Barham Tires car pulling away from the Toyota, and ahead of that again Helmut Hohlfeld, who's now got a commanding lead, 4 laps in the heats. And Tony Bell wrestling with that car, making it look quite difficult to drive, and he really goes on the anchors in a big way for that left-hander. But it's Hohlfeld, number 14, who's going to take this one, understeering a little bit as he comes out towards the checkered flag. Good win for Helmut Hohlfeld. Kevin Toomey is second, and our camera car in third place just. And now we move on to the final. And this time Tony Bell is on the right position and manages to get across Hohlfeld, and very nearly loses it. And that was Mark Watson in a lot of trouble as Kevin Toomey went inside him there. So Hohlfeld has got a lot of work to do. He should have the straight line speed in the Escort, but it's finding the gap. It's never easy at Nuts Corner. This is one of the places he could do it, but he didn't get on the power early enough onto that straight. On the loose now, biding his time. Tony Bell pulling away considerably, and Hohlfeld must have missed a gear there or something, but Tony Bell has got an advantage as they come back up the back straight. Now off to the left, very tricky corner that, because you're coming in at very high speed. You've got to break down and change gear all at the one time. Up the hill again, and this is where Bell does extraordinary things. He goes very, very late on the brakes. It's not really very fast, but it does hold up the opposition and is quite effective as a technique. It's what you would call in Formula Ford racing a brake test. So he wins the Division 1A final for the big Group N cars.
Division 3 is for Group A cars over 1600 cc's that don't have four-wheel drive. And Clive Richardson, who carries our camera, is the hot favourite.
And Richardson makes the break in a crazy move on the outside there by John Sampson in the TR7 with the V8 engine. He's going nowhere today, but Richardson is the man. They can't afford to let him get away like that. He is a superb driver, possibly one of the most talented of all on the rallycross course, and he went right up in two wheels there. That was a really close one. So Richardson giving himself, I would imagine, a considerable scare, certainly as he did that. Let's see it from the inside. Now he's down the straight, lining up for the left-hander, and here she goes! Woo, that was a close one.
This year we've developed the car for Euro 2000 next year. So we're down in horsepower this year. Not a lot, but we're down a bit. Down in, we're just, that's about all, we're just down in horsepower this year.
So it's harder to get into the super final, is that?
Well, it is. It's not as torquey as it used to be, but it's still very drivable. It's still very drivable car now.
And so to the Division 3 final. And the danger man for Richardson's on the outside there, number 322, Mike Manning. Very quick driver, and our TR friend is at it again. Comes back in amongst the pack, causing consternation everywhere and letting the first two make a clean getaway. Aboard with Clive Richardson again. Sit back and enjoy a really high-speed trip around Nuts Corner. This time we're keeping her on all four wheels, and our danger man Mike Manning from Wales in behind there. Sliding it out onto the tarmac again, very busy part of the course. you're keeping it flat out, you're letting it glide up on the curbs here, and then now watch this point. As he comes in, he has to brake, he has to get down the gear, and he's all sideways as he comes in there, back onto the loose again. Superb driver, really incredible reaction, sets it up for the corner way before, runs a little bit wide that time, indeed nearly all throws it away at the very last lap, not a bit like Clive Richardson, but he's far enough ahead of Manning for it not to make any difference. So Richardson comes and takes the Division 3 A final, with Mike Manning just coming across the line now in third, but nobody to touch the Loch Goal man, who still throwing the car around in celebration.
Now for the up to 1600cc modified cars. Oh boy, do they have problems in the heats.
Local man Stanley Aikens made a good start, but look at the man on the outside here, number 421 Keith Bradley. He's right off into what they call the kitty litter, or the runoff area, and I think it's going to be red flag because he's in a dangerous position. They can't leave him there for the second heat. Here's the second go, and this time again absolute hijinks on the left there. Aiken locks up and once again gets cleanly in, but with somebody else off this time. They're going in all kinds of directions. Oh, and 43 takes a serious knock. Mike Howling, 22, Stanley Aiken and Mike Howling there in a big coming together, and surely it's going to be red flag once again. Fortunately, Howling's perfectly all right, and here we go, third attempt, and again Aiken in the dark blue car. But this time he's a little boxed out, somebody trying to come through on the inside there. We're looking for the number 452, I think it's Eugene Capel. Just check that one again. And he's cleanly through. The little Mini there is at the back of the pack. And it's 453, Malcolm Spendlove, great Irish rallycross family. 490 there is Barry Rogers, going rather slowly. And we've a new leader, 142, or 412 it is, Ian John. Ian John takes the lead there as they came down onto the loose. So Ian John leads Malcolm Spendlove, who's dropping back now into the opposition a little bit. And he's made quite an interesting break. Ian John then in the Nova, coming up the back straight. And a great dog fight going on between Spendlove. We're just picking up the numbers there. Spendlove holding off this opposition well at the moment. And that opposition is Keith Bradley with Michael Coyne in the old Mark II Escort there in behind, the old rear-wheel drive. So front-wheel drive leading, of course, Ian John pulling away a little bit in great battle. And we see the recovering Stanley Aiken there just in the dark blue car coming up in amongst this pack. Down they come, and Michael Coyne from Dublin really giving a lot of harassment there to the little front-wheel drive Novas. Not an easy thing to do in a rear-wheel drive car around here. He really would be at a disadvantage. Ian John, 412, all out on his own. Nice clean break, just what you want in rallycross, and you just got to keep his concentration out to the flag, and he should have this one all sewn up. But here's the battle. 451 there, Michael Coyne all over, tail wagging in the Fina car, all over the place. Up to the checkered flag comes Ian John in the heat that they finally got started. Mike, I suppose we could say you've come down a little bit in the world from a Metro down to a Nova, but in fact you've gone into the most competitive class of all.
Yes, it seems that way. It seems that it's a very competitive class. I would still prefer to be in the supercar class, or I enjoyed the supercar class, but as you know, the Metros are no longer allowed, so the Nova was available, and it just gets us out here at the meetings, really.
And Mike Turpin is the hot favourite for the Division 4A final, and he makes a perfect start up the hill. Really an enormous lead as he goes in. 154 in second place, that's Norman Beggs, and it's certainly a cleaner affair than we've seen in some of the heats, and Turpin is away already. Really a quite incredible drive. We've seen him carve his way through the opposition in the heats, and just to show you the standard of this, Ian John, who we saw winning the previous heat, is right at the tail of the field. So Mike Turpin, former British champion in a Metro. He's been at Rallycross for a number of years, and he's been here at Nuts Corner on many occasions. 443 we just saw going through the picture there was Bobby Campbell. So in first place it's Mike Turpin, then Norman Beggs in second place in the Peugeot. But Turpin really pulling away, making the opposition look a little bit silly in this Division 4 final. as he's very much in control. Front wheel drive gone from 4-wheel drive to front wheel drive, and it seems to be no bother to him at all. So out he comes to take the checkered flag, the highway robber, no matter what class he's in.
I'm a scat man. I'm a scat man.
It's Herbie to the rescue, as Rallycross has been in turmoil since the British Championship banned the Group 4 cars. The Lawn Club's answer has been to create the Ulster Rallycross Grand Prix, which still allows the older supercars.
I think in the long term you'll see that what's been getting on over the last few weeks, or the last few months I should say, is eventually going to be for the benefit of the sport. It may seem a bit strange for me to say that here at the moment, but I think you'll find that in the long term we're going the right way.
It's easier outlawed, but it's a silly mistake I think the Rallycross people at the top of it have made, so we'll go out maybe today, prove them wrong.
Yeah, but a silly mistake to the extent that you're now thinking of leaving the sport.
Yes, well, we're just out over this weekend for the last time probably. This will be one of our last runs in Rallycross.
I think with the new cars, and it might modernise things a bit, and hopefully by doing more international events it will improve things.
So it's sort of major surgery now to get a good result in the long run.
Yes, I think so.
And so to the supercars, where the drama started earlier in the day. That's Dermot Carnegie being pushed to the back of the field in one of the heats. That means he has to try and carve through all this opposition. And that is a fairly controversial situation in Rallycross, something that a lot of the rule makers want to change. Look at this. That was Freddie Patterson getting launched into by the escort, seemingly needlessly. We'll see it again from another angle. Patterson was on pole in the red and white Metro, and there comes Carnegie carving his way around the other Metro, trying to go down the inside where there simply wasn't a gap, and the result is two very damaged motor cars and a very unhappy Freddie Patterson, who fortunately gets out of his steaming Metro, but I imagine he's steaming as much as his car. Carnegie returns to the pits for repairs to fight again, but will Patterson fight again? That's another matter. There's the damage to the front. It's mainly cosmetic, but there could be a few hose pipes gone and things like that, so obviously they're going to give the car a good check over. Here we go. This is the C final of the supercars, and these are really the two-wheel drive cars putting on a great race. David Patton leads as they come down towards us for the first time. So Patton passed the curb camera right on his tail, Jeremy Crush, the English visitor. And just behind him, David Francis, the stalwart of Irish Rallycross, who's been competing for many years, a beautiful driver. And just listen to these motor cars. What does that remind you of? The old Sierra Coswell with the wastegate whistling away there. Rear-wheel drive, throwing the tails out, and David Patton making a little bit of a break there, but it's all closed up again. We're looking at a close-up of Davy Francis there, number 6. And Seamus Murphy now has gathered in on this fabulous battle. But holding off the opposition, David Patton, Jeremy Crush, and then these three pulling away again. It's down to David Patton and Jeremy Crush. Can Crush find a little way past? He goes a little bit wide there. Davy Francis closes up again. And no quarter given on this one whatsoever. Slithering sideways round Nuts Corner, flaming as they come up the hill for the last time. 15, David Patton looks like he has it, but Davy Francis trying down the inside. Crush doesn't leave any room whatsoever. Seamus Murphy can only watch this glorious battle from behind. A blast of flame from Patton as he comes up towards the line to take the C final in a beautiful race. From the C final to the A final, and the supercars and the superstars, and ancient and modern, and Dermot Carnegie trying to go around the outside. He's done it all wrong again. He's gone terribly wide. He's lost 1, 2, 3 places. So this really brings this heat alive, and it gives Denis Biggerstaff in the Kittle car a great opportunity. And so it's Biggerstaff leads from number 9 Lawrence Gibson. Great drive for him in his first ever day in four-wheel drive. Then Freddie Patterson, and then the very damaged Dermot Carnegie, who almost seems to have decided at this stage it's not worth the hassle, because he would be very hard to get up amongst this lot. The Kittle car then coming up the hill, and remember that this man has really given up rallycross. He just came out for the day to keep the lawn club happy, borrowed the engine off Kenny McKinstry, and here he is leading the A final. Tremendous effort indeed. So, Biggerstaff, former British champion of course, takes the checkered flag and the A final. Second place Gibson, and a very good result for him. Now we come to the super final, and this is where it's all going to happen. Look at Carnegie in third place. There's contact there between Gibson, Carnegie and Patterson, all at it again, giving Biggerstaff the break. We're on board with Clive Richardson, who's managed to get that little Division 3 car into the A final. An incredible effort. And there he goes, just through our picture, with Manning on his tail, Mike Manning in the other Division 3 car, fighting it down the far part of the circuit. A little bit of rain on the course now, the wipers going, and it's a tall order for Carnegie. He's just got 4 laps to it, and we're back with Clive Richardson, and the Metro's getting away. The Division 3 cars just don't have it in a straight line. Biggerstaff coming up onto the loose again, and Gibson in second place. This really is an outstanding drive by Lawrence Gibson, and he's up a place. He's past Patterson, so he's up into third place, Carnegie now, and pressuring Lawrence Gibson. Gets the power. He's got to get the power on early, really using all the road and the curb. This is a real opportunity for him coming down. We see him in the distance. We see how dark it's getting, how bad the light is getting now, but he didn't manage to get past there. He really will be a bit frustrated about that, because all the time, of course, we have the Kittle car going ahead with Denis Biggerstaff building up that gap. Here he comes, up the inside. Carnegie moves into second place. Nothing that Gibson could do about it. This is the very latest generation of rallycross car, the full out-and-out Group A car, and he's having to fight for his money today. Now, he's going to try and close down that gap, and he's only got 2 laps to do it. He's absolutely from lock to lock. Superb driver, the current British Rallycross champion, absolutely on the limit as he comes down here onto the loose now. Closing the gap very definitely at the moment on Biggerstaff, as Biggerstaff relaxed just a little bit too much. We're looking back in the Astro, fighting away at the tail of the field as we wait to get back up front and see this battle. But look at that, it's very tricky. The dirt is all over the course, the conditions are extremely slippery indeed. Clive Richardson fighting with it, and there's the man Carnegie really fighting with it also, and he hasn't closed that much in that lap. So Denis, 1 more lap to go, and out they come, out opposite lock, onto the last lap now. And really, can Carnegie do it? It really is going to require, I think, a mistake almost from Biggerstaff, but he's very close this time. And remember, he overtook Lawrence Gibson as he went up on the next bit of straight. Is he close enough? But Biggerstaff has the power down very early, sliding it right out. So did Carnegie, almost losing a little bit of time. He's not close enough to get inside, and that was his big opportunity. Carnegie now, coming up to the last corner. It's going to require a mistake from Biggerstaff. He hasn't made it. Carnegie can't get close enough. He certainly gets close enough to our curb camera as they come round the corner for the last time. It's going to be a historic win there by Denis Biggerstaff. Carnegie second, and what a final.
So, ironically, the event that has been created to extend the life of the old Group B supercars has been won by a Metro, and nobody is more pleased than Denis Biggerstaff.
Well done, Dennis. Thank you very much.
Denis, you're kind of laden down there. I don't really think you would have been expected to be so laden tonight, were you?
No, I think we had a better day and much better than we could have expected, so it's great to get that finish. I think I was getting a bit nervous at the finish, so Dermot come up very tight on me at the finish, and I was a wee bit maybe too relaxed at the time, so I could have just easily got past. So I'm thankful to be here. I was just waiting on the flag.